Hi everybody, this is Courtney again from Fiber Fox Studios, and what we're going to be doing in this tutorial is showing you guys how to sew up those sides of your kimono cardigan and how to add on your border. So regardless of the size you made, I suggest measuring about 10 inches down and marking that at that point on your cardigan. You're going to want to lay your piece flat with your back panel and your front panels nice and even and lining up at the bottom. So once you've done that, you're going to lay down your piece and get your tape out, and you're going to measure. So for this one right here, I'm going to be going down 10 inches. This is one of the larger sizes. I would say don't go any less than 7 inches for your armholes if you did like the small medium. And that's going to mean you're going to sew up a little bit more down here, but you definitely do not want to go too small on that. And I'm going to use one of these little stitch markers to mark my 10 inch. And then you're going to flip over and do the same exact thing on your other side. And when you are done and you have both sides marked at the 10 inch, you're going to want to fold your piece over on itself so that you can double check and make sure that you've got the exact same amount of fabric marked. You want it to be as even as possible. So you would just fold your other side over, front panel and back panel and all, and check your measurement just like that. And make sure you should be marked right here in this case. So to go ahead and sew up your sides, all you're going to do, and I'm going to do this with a regular worsted weight size 4 yarn because that'll be a little bit easier for you guys to see on camera, is you're going to get out your yarn needle and you're going to go ahead and thread your yarn right onto that. And once you've got that completed, you're going to start sewing in, and you're only going to sew down about, in my case, I suggest about 4 inches. So at that point, after you've got your armhole marked right here, you're going to measure down 4 inches. If you're on a larger size, you can use your creative license here, maybe even up to 6 inches, because I like to leave these bottom pieces where it's going to be kind of like a little slit in the side. So it just depends on how much slit in the side you're going to want. So you're going to go ahead and mark where you're going to stop sewing in, and I'm going to use a little piece of yarn here real quick. So we're going to tie that. So we're going to just be sewing in between those two marks, and you're going to do the same thing on the other side and stitch that up. And then what you're going to want to do after you've done both sides, you've now got your armholes, and these arms are going to hang down closer to your elbow because of the way this piece is designed. And the first thing you're going to want to do is choose what kind of border you're going to put on. And in my case, I'm going to do a Picot border on the inseam. So on the inner part that's going to rest around your shoulders, neck, and down in the front, where it opens, you are going to want to do, in my case, a Picot. And to do that Picot border, I will show you real quick. I do recommend that you drop down your hook size quite a few to keep those Picots nice and neat. In this case, I'm going to go with, can we see it? A 4.25. So now what we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and work in this corresponding yarn, not what I would be doing on this actual project. And I'm going to lower my camera real quick, so just wait one moment. Alright, so now we're back and I've got my camera lowered down. So where I suggest that you actually connect your yarn, this is the inner seam where it's our opening in the front for our kimono cardigan. And I suggest that you go ahead and connect your yarn right down here in the corner, right next to this stitch. We're going to go in 1, 2, 3, so I guess it would be your third stitch if you're counting right from here. We're going to go in here and we're going to add on our yarn. We're just going to pull through a slip knot, and then we're going to chain just to kind of lock that in place. And then we're going to have to turn our work in this case because we're going to work up all the way around the inseam of this piece, and we've got our chain ready, so we're going to go ahead and do a single crochet. Just like so. Let's get down here and view the camera. And then we are going to do another single crochet, and it's important to kind of look at what you're doing here when you're doing your border on there. You do not want to cram too many stitches in one area. This right here is forming our corner, so when we look at our little fan here that's created, we want to make sure that they're right there in that corner. And I've got enough room now that I've shifted that stitch down to go ahead and insert my hook and pull up and do another single crochet right beside it. And we're going to do a total of 4 single crochets, and then on the top of the 4th we're going to do our picot. So if you look right here, we've kind of met up with this little part of the stitch, and there's a little gap right here. That's where we're going to stick our yarn in and do another single crochet. And then we're not gonna shove another stitch in here. We're gonna skip on past. If you look, there's that little piece. We don't want to spread this out and make it wider. So you want to go right past that and do your 4th single crochet. So we're doing 4 single crochets, and on the top of the 4th we're gonna do our picot. So to do the picot, we're gonna wrap our yarn. We're gonna pull through 1, 2, 3. So we're gonna chain up 3. Now we're going to go down here, and if you look, hopefully you can see, there's these 2 little, we'll say ridges, front of a stitch, and we're going to go underneath both of those, and we're going to grab our yarn and we're going to pull through those 2, and we're going to pull through that loop on our hook. And that forms our picot right there. So now we're going to do 4 more single crochets. There's 1. We've got enough room to put 1 more in right here, so we're going to do 2. Now we're going to skip into this space right here, 3. And we don't want to spread that out, so we're not going to shove another stitch in there. We're actually going to move right over here for our 4th and go in this big open area. There's our 4th, and now we're going to picot again. We're going to chain up 3. 1, 2, and 3. And now we're going to go down here, and we're going to find these 2 little loops that are right here in the front of the stitch. Let me bring this up so you can see really well. So we're looking for these 2 loops that are right here in the front, and you want to put your hook underneath the first one, underneath the second one. It's going to look just like that. Now we're going to grab our yarn, and we're going to slip stitch essentially through all 3 loops that were on our hook. And we've got another picot. So you're going to continue in that same manner, doing 4 single crochets and then doing your picot on the top of the 4th single crochet. Being very cautious not to stretch out your project. You just kind of want to work with it, jump over. There's no exact place to put anything in. You just want to make sure that you're not stretching out any of those stitches that are along here on the side. That is the main thing. And you want to space them out evenly. So we've got 4 single crochets, picot on the top of the 4th, so it's essentially separated by 3, and then we do our picot. So 3 single crochets, single crochet, and picot on top. So we're going to do that one more time together, and then we're going to move on to the little pom-pom stitch that we do to do the bottom border on this piece. So you're going to do these picots all along the inseam on the inside portion where the opening of the cardigan, and then you're also going to do this on the sleeves if you're following my exact pattern to get a piece that looks exactly like what I've got. So we just want to make sure that we keep them evenly spaced. Obviously it's going to look a lot different when you're using the smaller yarn, and that's why we also want to definitely go down into more of like a 4mm, 4.25mm crochet hook. Now we're going to go ahead and switch over here. We're going to move along. We're going to pretend like we have crocheted all the way around, and we've done the inside collar. We're around the collar down onto the other side, and we're coming here. We're on the end over here. We're going to picot right here at the end, and then we're going to start chaining to do our pom-poms that are going to hang at the bottom if that's what you choose to do. You can of course do a picot all the way around. You could do a single crochet border all the way around. It's completely up to you. But I want to pause for a moment and go ahead and grab another yarn. Alright, and so now we are back and we are going to be doing our bottom edge. This is the very bottom of your cardigan where you ended, and what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that right here in that corner we want to end with a picot whenever possible. So have your little picot right there, and then what we're going to do is we're going to do a single crochet right here into this corner on the bottom, very last row. And that's just to kind of move us over into that space. And now what we're going to do is we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now what you're going to want to do is actually pinch that 4th stitch so you know exactly where it is, and we're going to chain up 3. Just like that. Now we're going to wrap our yarn and we're going to go in just right here into that first stitch we just made. So right over where we're pinching, the stitch that falls directly above that, and we're going to insert our hook and pull up a loop. Now we're going to pull through 2, so we've got 2 loops on our hook. Now we're going to wrap our yarn again. We're going to go back into that same exact space. We're going to pull up a loop. We've got now technically 4 loops on our hook. We're going to pull through 2 so that we end with 3 loops on our hook. Now we're going to wrap our yarn again. We're going to insert one more time into that same exact space, and we're going to pull up a loop. We're going to pull through 2. Now we have 4 loops on our hook, so we're going to go ahead and grab our yarn, pull through all 4 loops on your hook, so you have a little cluster going on. Now we're going to chain up 3 again. 1, 2, and 3. We're going to wrap our yarn. We're going to go right here into that first chain we made, and we're going to pull up a loop. We're going to pull through 2. Got 2 loops on our hook. Wrap your yarn again. Insert into that same space, pulling up a loop. We're going to pull through 2. Got 3 loops on our hook, so we're going to do this one more time. Wrap your yarn. Go back down here. We're going right there into that same space over and over. We're going to go right in there. We're going to pull up a loop. We're going to pull through 2. And now we have 4 loops on our hook, so we're going to grab our yarn. We're going to pull through all 4 loops on our hook. And if you would like, you can go ahead and do 1 chain and tighten that down to kind of lock everything into place. Now this is where it gets tricky with this puff. We're going to need to fold our work back here while keeping it on our hook and insert into that space where we were inserting our hook to form that first puff. We're going to grab our yarn and we're going to pull through and pull through right there. So you don't want to get too tight on anything, because you want it to be able to fold back and pull through all those loops pretty easily. So we've just formed our first puff. That's what it looks like. Now we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now we have to figure out where are we going to anchor this. So the way that I suggest doing this is, we had started out right here in this first little chain space. We're going to move into this chain 3 in between those 2 double crochet clusters, and we're going to do a single crochet to lock that in place. So I just went underneath, and I'm just going to do a single crochet, and we've locked it in place. So this is what we have so far. And now what we're going to do is we're going to chain 4 again. 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to grab that 4th stitch and pinch it. Now we're going to chain up 3, 2, and 3. We're going to wrap our yarn and we're going to go down into that first chain that we just made, so right above where you're pinching. And we are going to insert our hook just like that. Grab our yarn and pull up a loop. We're going to pull through 2, and we have 2 loops on our hook. We're going to wrap our yarn again, going back into that same exact space. Pull that apart for you. See, we're right there in that same space. We're going to pull up a loop. We're going to pull through 2. We've got 3 loops on our hook. We're going to hold it right there. We're going to wrap again, going into that same exact space. You can see, same one. We're going to insert our hook, pull up a loop, grab our yarn and pull through 2. We've got 4 loops on our hook, and we're going to grab our yarn and pull through all 4 loops. Now we're going to chain up 3 again, 2 and 3. We're going to wrap our yarn. We're going to go back down to that first chain that we made right above this puff, and we're going to insert our hook just like that, grabbing a loop, pulling that up, and we're going to pull through 2 loops. So now we've got 2 in our hook. Wrap again, going back down into that same exact space right there. We're going to insert our hook, grab our yarn, pull up a loop. We're going to pull through 2. Now we have 3 loops on our hook, so we're going to hold it. Grab our yarn again, insert back into that same space again, pulling up a loop. We're going to pull through 2, and we have 4 loops on our hook. We're going to grab our yarn, pull through all 4 loops. Now we're going to chain 1, and we're going to pull it down to tighten it. Now we're going to take this and we're going to fold it backwards. Once you get the hang of it and you sandwich that together, it is very easy. You'll start moving a lot faster. So now let's look at the front and let's make sure you know exactly where to go. See how that stitch is stretched apart right there? Let's see if I can show it better this way. That's where we're working into, that stretched out stitch right there where we formed our first puff. So we're going to take, here's our puff. We're going to fold it back like this, and we're going to insert our hook right there into that large space. So now it looks just like this. Grab your yarn and pull through that first space, and go ahead and slip stitch on through the hook or the loop that you had on your hook. Now you formed another puff. We're going to go ahead and chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Just like so. And now we've made it to where we have the clusters. And this is how you're going to handle each and every one. So in between our double crochet clusters, we're going to be putting our anchoring this chain 4 with a single crochet right there in the center on that chain 3 space. When you get to this portion where you've clustered the 6 double crochets together, you're going to be anchoring your stitch right here in this chain 5 each and every time, and that keeps a really even look to that fringe, the little puff fringe that you've got going on at the bottom. Now we're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. You're going to pinch on that 4th, and you're going to chain up 3. And now we're going to wrap our yarn, and we're going to go into that first chain that we just made. We're going to grab our yarn and pull up a loop. Now we're going to wrap our yarn and pull through 2 loops. So we've got 2 loops on our hook. We're going to hold it there. We're going to wrap our yarn. We're going to go down here into that same stitch, and we're going to grab our yarn and pull up a loop. Now we're going to pull through 2 loops. So we've got 3 loops on our hook. Wrap your yarn again, going into that same exact stitch. Grab and pull up a loop. Pull through 2, and you've got 4 loops on your hook. So now we're going to grab our yarn and go through all 4 loops again. We're going to chain up 3, 1, 2, and 3. Just like that. Wrap your yarn, go down here into that first chain that you made and insert your hook. And I like to do it under the stitch completely. We're going to pull up a loop. We're going to pull through 2. Got 2 on our hook. Wrap your yarn again. Insert in the same space. Pull up a loop. Pull through 2. wrap one more time, pull through all 4 loops on your hook, just like that. Now we're going to do a chain, and we're going to grab our yarn and we're going to pull it down tight to lock that in place. Now we're going to take and fold this back, and right here in this wide stitch, do that so you can see. So here we are, right there, and we're going to go down here into this, right there. So for me, the easiest way for me to do it is just to hold this one and to pull back here and go ahead and slip through. So now I've got them sandwiched together. I'm going to grab my yarn just like this, and I'm going to pull through both of those loops. They're on my hook. And now I'm going to chain 4 again. 1, 2, 3. Ooh, don't get too loose. And 4. And now I'm going to come over here in that chain 5 space, and I'm going to anchor it right there with a single crochet. Now I'm going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now here we are again to those chain 3 spaces. So we're going to go ahead and do our puff. 1, 2, 3. And I've pinched on the 4th. I'm going to wrap my yarn, go into that first chain that we just made. And you see right here, if you don't get both of those loops, because we're pulling on this, we want to get both of them so we can pull up our loop and it not get too crazy big. And you're going to pull through 2 loops. Got 2 on our hook, just like that. Wrap your yarn again, go back into that same space, pull up a loop, pull through 2, 3 loops on your hook, wrap again, go right back in there into that same chain space, pull up, or stitch I should say, and pull through 2, and we've got 4 loops on our hook. We're going to pull through all 4 loops, and now we're going to chain up 3, 1, 2, and 3, and we're going to wrap our yarn and go right here into this first chain that's directly above our puff. So if you look at it this way, it's right here. We're going right into this one, just like so. And we're going to pull through a loop. We're going to pull through 2. Now we've got 2 loops on our hook. Wrap again, insert your hook, pull up a loop, pull through 2, 3 loops on our hook, wrap again, insert your hook, pull up your loop, pull through 2, 4 loops on our hook, so we know we're done. We're going to wrap and pull through all 4 loops. We're going to chain just 1 time, and we're going to grab our yarn and pull it down tight. Now we're going to take and fold this over. So I just bring my hook on around. So I'm up here when I've finished. And this is the easiest way for me. I just bring it back here. I can already see on my side that large loop that I'm wanting to work in. And I just stick my hook right on through that. And now I'm going to grab and hold that back out of my way. And I'm going to grab my yarn and I'm going to pull through. And then I'm going to pull through. Just like that. You can tighten it down. There's your puff. Little pom-pom. This is a pom-pom border. Chain 4. And now here we were over here in our chain 5, and we anchored down here. So right there, if you take a look at that, where you've clustered all this together, those stitches, you're going to have just one of these pom-poms. Now we're over here, we've chained 4, we've got another pom-pom, we've chained 4 again, and we're going to anchor it right into this chain 3 space. And each of those chain 3 spaces becomes a place for you to anchor. Each of the chain 5s become a place for you to anchor. So if you follow along that, you're going to have evenly spaced, let's bring this down so you can see, you're going to have evenly spaced pom-poms, and it's just going to look really, really nice on the bottom. Obviously, it looks better when you're not using this large size 4 yarn. and it's a little more delicate, kind of goes with what you're doing. But you're just going to continue on the same way. I would chain 4, do our pom-pom, making that little puff right there. It's just like these that we've been doing. The only difference is we're doing 2 on top of each other and folding them over, so it has a thickness to it. So I mean, it's the same thing. It's a cluster stitch. It's a double crochet cluster, but with 4. We're doing 4, half of the double crochets, 4, and then we're clustering all that together. So I mean, it's the same thing that you've been doing here. It's just we're doing it on top of each other to make this puff and little pom-pom. So we're going to go ahead and continue on in the same manner. So you're going to be anchoring into those chain spaces. That's where you're going to anchor. Chain space, chain space, chain space. And you don't have to do this border, but if you choose to, it's really cute. It turns out really, really nice. And I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. I hope you found it helpful. Please like, subscribe, and share. Thank you. Have a great one.